Selena Banks, certified financial planning professional and small business coach based here in Austin, Texas. Welcome back to your financial therapy for the week. As always, thanks for tuning in. And before we get started, I need to ask you if you've been enjoying the show, please like, subscribe, give us a review wherever you're listening or watching. I'd really appreciate that. So today's episode is called More Money, More Problems. We've all heard it. We've all heard that phrase before, I know. But I really wanted to talk today about how having more money can actually make you less free. Because everybody's searching for kind of that financial windfall, that one thing that's going to help them break free financially or just from the stress, the rat race of work, feeling like you don't earn enough, feeling like you can't spend enough, feeling like everything is too expensive, and just getting squeezed in so many different ways. But I wanted to talk about how more money can mean more problems, and it can actually make you less free. So here are 3 ways that I feel like more money, more problems. The first thing is the 4 horsemen. The 4 horsemen emerge. Obligation, fear and denial, guilt and shame, and pride. I call those the 4 horsemen because they are the emotional kind of triggers that always seem to show up in the midst of turmoil, and they cause even more trouble. They can cause even more spiraling, even more heartache, stress, and they tend to cycle back on one another. The obligation leads to guilt and shame, or the fear and the denial leads to feeling prideful and like you're not going to talk about it with anyone. The guilt and shame can lead back to fear and denial. I mean, it just all like folds in on itself, and it can cause a horrible emotional spiral of how we spend, how we talk about money, how we think about money, and how we just engage with our own personal finances. So the 4 horsemen tend to emerge. The more money you have, the more of these things you'll have. More obligation, more fear of losing what you've got, more denial that you need to manage anything related to finances, maybe more guilt and shame around not being able to spend what you think now you should be able to spend, maybe more pride, maybe more focus on showing off, making sure that people understand that you've made this money, that you have this money, becomes more important to you. And it creates these instant expectations and emotional explosions in your life when you have more money and no plan for how to manage it. These expectations can come from you yourself. They can come from your spouse or your financial partner, from colleagues, from kids. All of these expectations, both to provide and to keep providing or growing access to funds, new and bigger things, lifestyle creep. You've got a new job and you've got a raise, and so now you have to get a bigger house. All of those things can create more and more pressure from those 4 horsemen. And I've heard of people, doing just wild things in response to their family members or relatives having more money and their perceptions around that. So, for instance, people like not even speaking to their parents because they refuse to pay for an extravagant wedding. I'm talking 6-figure, beautiful, beautiful wedding, but the idea that you will not talk to your father because he's not footing the entire bill. Or, they wouldn't pay for a new car, and so, I'm going to let them know that, I'm very disappointed because I know that they can afford this and I deserve it. It's a very, it leads to a lot of entitlement, a lot of expectations, and can lead to a lot of emotional explosions within your relationships and your community, having more money. And especially if folks know how much money that is, and if they understand that relative to what they're making or what they're able to spend on, that you are doing very well. So that's the first way that more money causes more problems and can make you less free, is just the complete expectations that you place on yourself and that others place on you as a result of having that money at your disposal. The second way that more money causes more problems is it just leads to more debt overall. We talked in a previous episode about lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep, and it really happens at whatever income level you're at. Suddenly, when there's more access to money, there's just more access to things you want to buy, things you need to buy, things you must buy. And then there are also more reasons why you feel like you should want or need to buy them. I read a recent article in the Wall Street Journal with a headline that Americans with higher incomes are starting to fall behind on their payments, mortgage payments, car payments. And so it just proved to me that we are all in the same boat. More money does not necessarily mean that you've suddenly gained the experience or the emotional aptitude necessary to manage it. And that's the point of this, is how you manage your emotions and your finances is something that is a learned skill. It's something that you practice. And if you don't have the financial literacy and the patience to kind of go through the motions of that, it doesn't matter if you're making $50,000 or $500,000, you're more likely than not going to spend it accordingly. So that bigger house or that new car or whatever is now costing wealthy Americans and putting them in a financial horror show, just like it might someone earning less income. So more money leads to more debt overall if we are not mindful and conscious of it. And the third thing is that time is money. So you have to be aware when you have more money that you're not trading your free time for that money. And, you know, for some people, that's kind of an impossible task when you are in a high-powered job, when you are needing to work, and you are blessed enough to have a role where you can earn a lot, but you also, the trade-off is that you have to work a lot. That just kind of is what it is. So definitely not saying quit your job and just have all the free time you want. But I am saying that more money often does come with more responsibility. That's fine, but becoming a workaholic, becoming involved so heavily in how you're making money, doing things to make money, can throw you off balance. And so you do have to ask yourself if the more money is worth a significantly less amount of time, or if you can find some ways to balance those two things. So don't forget to check in to determine whether more money is actually making you more of a captive to earning it, rather than providing you some freedom to spend the time doing what you love. So this is a super short episode. More money, more problems. 3 ways more money can make you less free. And those were the 4 horsemen emerge. More obligation, more fear, more denial, more guilt, more shame, more pride, simply because you have more expectation from everyone around you, including likely yourself. More money also leads to more debt overall. More likely than not, you are going to buy something new and it is going to put you in debt. So the more money you have, the more access you have to spending more, to getting into more debt. And most people, especially if they're not mindful about it, are going to fall into that debt trap. And the third way is that more money typically means less time, more responsibility, more work. And if it's really important to you to be free, to spend time with your family, traveling, doing things that are fulfilling to you, you need to learn to balance having more money with having a significant enough amount of time to be able to do those things you love. So this episode was More Money, More Problems, 3 ways more money can make you less free. I'll be back next week with another episode.